been more than 3 years now since Minnesota recorded its first case of COVID-19. In the months that followed, many frontline workers would be hailed as heroes as they worked through PPE shortages, crowded hospitals, and fear of the unknown.
And now a group of Centra Care nurses who worked through the worst of it have published a book about what they lived through. Courtney Godfrey takes a look.
For the many who did not get a parade, for whom COVID proved to be too much for their bodies to handle, we tried to make it as peaceful as we could.
Poured out onto these pages is a snapshot of life on the front lines.
You would see people going from a sore throat to being on a ventilator, and a lot of them we never saw again.
These nurses working against a virus that at the height of the pandemic was killing patients under their care every day. A virus they knew very little about.
We would hold the iPads while they were saying goodbye, and that would be the last time their family would see them.
About 6 months into working on the COVID floor at St. Cloud Hospital, Lisa Kilgard, Nicole May, and Amanda Shank came up with the idea to record stories from fellow frontline workers, told in their own words, much like a journal.
There's tears, there's laughter, and some stories you look at them and you're like, oh, I don't even remember that happening, but yeah, that did happen. And that's part of the reason we wrote the book too, is so we can look back at it and remember those little details that you forget on your day-to-day.
They appropriately titled it Just Breathe, as declining respiratory function became one of the most common symptoms of the virus, and breathing was something these nurses had very little time for.
I hope that the families realize what these nurses went through. They did. They sacrificed a lot of time with our own families at home. And the nurses on this particular unit, we needed everybody.
To think back that we made it through that and we're still nurses, it's like amazing.
And while the pandemic is now over, the women hope the book will act as a historical record for generations to come.
You know, there's people that have their own beliefs about what went on back then and all that stuff, but we worked so hard and we tried to save like all the patients we could.
Courtney Godfrey, Fox 9.
Yeah, I've talked to so many nurses who actually left the hospital setting because the trauma was too much for them.
What a great look at a really terrible time in our history, but so necessary.
That historical perspective to share with future generations. Well,